Good morning, my friends. Hello, how are you? My name is Natasha. I am the creator and the founder of The Glow Up Method, and I'm so excited to be here with you. I know I stopped doing the whole what day it is, but today is Monday, and today represents it's 1 week from launch day. I'm so excited. I am one of those people who have always been like, yes, go pursue your dreams, live the life of your dreams. Oh, this person's living a dream life. But really, what did that mean to me? I didn't even know. Some people are born and they're like so clear. Like they're like from a little age, they're like, I'm going to be a lawyer, doctor, musician, teacher, whatever it is. They just know. Like there's just something in them that is like, yep, this is what I do. And others are like me, where I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like this. I kind of like that. Oh, this is interesting. Like I'm more in this exploratory thing because I realized really early on there's so many different options. Like I was such an observer and such a listener that I really took the time to see what other people were doing and have this curiosity. And so I'm like, if I've been around this many people and I've been introduced to this many, ways of living a dream life, like how many more ways are there that I'm not even aware of? So, I went through all the phases where I wanted to be a lawyer, wanted to be oh my goodness, an author, a real estate agent, an interior decorator. And of course, they kind of leaned on where I was or what the motivation was, like being a lawyer. Oh, they had, as a female, it was a powerful role. They were looked at as intelligent. They were fierce and strong and resilient, and they fought for good and they protected people. And so there was this whole thing in there, and they made a lot of money. And so like all combined in together when I was young for that. Then I was like, no, I don't want to do all that. I want to be a child therapist. And then I realized, oh my goodness, it's going to be really challenging for somebody like me to help somebody who happens to even be a child and then send them back into an environment that is a little stressful or hectic. And I just really realized after a few years of wanting to do that it would pull me in. Like I would have a really difficult time separating work from pleasure. And I am such an empathetic person. And then especially since, again, like all of us, I had a very traumatic childhood. I had a great one too. Like I don't harp on the trauma parts because that's where I dwell in. No, I can right now, when I think about the good things, I think about going to Monterey Bay Aquarium or going to Lake Berryessa. There are a ton of beautiful moments in my childhood. Time spent with my elders, like my aunties, my uncles, my grandma, like that was so wisdom packed. Like that's my juice. Like, so I never say all of the traumas and tragedies in here to evoke any kind of like victimization of my own self. It is basically to tell you that and show you that if I can do this, like I have excuses to like just crawl into the bed, put the blankets over my head, and let life just circle around her for, until my last breath. But yet, here I am, no matter what adversity I face, no matter what situation, I found a way to find that inner smile in me. I found a way to make really difficult situations, like my son having a brain tumor, to be the first thing I think about is human kindness. There are so many beautiful things, even in the most challenging of moments. And so to not go too far into that, but since I'm really thinking about dreams, because this morning I'm like, I can't believe this. Again, a year ago, 2 years ago, I did not know this was a dream. So for me, discovering what my dream life is and discovering what my dreams are, what my motivations are, was a really challenging thing, okay? Because, right, first off, I was a people pleaser. I still am in some ways, but I was a people pleaser. I was really, really relying upon the external stimuli to tell me who I was versus taking the time to discover who I was, because I didn't want to upset anybody. I didn't want to upset myself. Like, it was so multi-layered. There's so many reasons, but the fact remains this, is I was really waiting for the judgment and the feedback from others to discover how it was to navigate the world, which is fine. It got me to here, right? However, when I started to really hear, like when that inner voice inside of me was no longer whispering and then just talking at a room level and being polite and saying, excuse me, there's a problem, excuse me. And when that inner voice inside of me started screaming and making me feel like I was literally on edge every second of every day, I just knew something had to change. And again, my initial reaction was, let's just be dramatic and drastic about it and just end this all. Then I don't hear any of this pain. I don't contribute to anybody else's pain. But I got up there and thank God, thank God, the thoughts of my kids came to my mind, and I thought about them having a graduation or a wedding or the birth of their children, and it have this little piece of a dark cloud over it because mama wasn't there. And it wasn't because there was an accident or I got sick. It was mom chose to not be here. And yes, it's really challenging. I will never minimize how hard and difficult it is to struggle with mental health and to struggle with anxiety and overwhelm and depression and all of those things. I have suffered from them. I have, barely got by the skin of my teeth some days. And even that, and tried to communicate and explain to my kids that, I'm sorry. All the best I can do is literally breathe and be on this couch right now. And it was something I felt was really important to explain to my kids, because had they ever felt that way, I didn't want them to ever feel like they were wrong for feeling the way they did, or they had to pretend they weren't. It was just very challenging at times. And so I'm so grateful even for that darkest moment and that darkest day of my life, because that one day it changed everything. It changed everything. It went from being the worst moment that was potentially going to be my last moment to being the greatest moment ever that has launched this entire journey of discovering who I am, listening to my voice. And has it always been easy? No. Has it been a straight line? No. I had no idea where I would end up, and I'm still not even there. I am still on this journey and discovering all the things that make me for me, and what works and what doesn't work. It is about exploring and trying and pivoting and adapting and saying, yeah, this works today, but it's no longer working tomorrow, or what it is. So really choosing to make today day one of your someday. This today is a result, me sitting here recording is a result of all those tiny actions, all those tiny decisions. I'm going to film for 30 minutes. I'm going to consider filming. I'm going to, research and study. I'm going to do all these things. This moment right here that we're sharing together is thanks to a million little actions that seemed like nothing at the time, but yet brought us here today together. And so I'm so proud of that. And so what I really want to say is, it's okay if you don't know or you're not living the life of your dreams. What does that even mean? So it is more than okay. Heck, I almost even if you think you're living the life of your dreams, please take some time and explore. Perhaps you are, but there is another way. There are other options that either A, you may not be aware of, or B, may entice you more. I had no idea there was this thing called dance fitness, and I had always had the assumptions, if you wanted to dance, you did it as a young child, then you ended up as somebody on one of these shows, So You Think You Can Dance or Dancing with the Stars, and And then suddenly, you're also like, could be like a backup dancer somewhere. But that was the end of, what the options were available. I never knew a 40-something-year-old woman could begin to dance. Like, I'm sure that I thought that there was like maybe like a ballroom dance class or something like that, like you can like join in at like Arthur Murray or something like that. But just, again, like it just seemed so out of the thing. And I would have never like been like, oh, I want to be like some ballroom dancer. Like I didn't want to be like a ballerina at 45. Like, let's take this on, like I'm not trying to be in the Nutcracker over here. But finding this genre of dance fitness for me was, again, something 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I didn't even know existed on this planet. Like I had no clue that you could go to a gym and do this. I really thought you go to a gym, you could do yoga, you can do Pilates. Obviously you can do all the, cardio machines, the treadmill, the bikes, obviously there was weight equipment, but I was so unaware of this whole entire other world of Zumba and UJam and MixFit and LaBlast that lives out there in this ecosystem that like just brings me life. And, I'm excited because here we are in about 45 minutes. I'll be doing that. I will be out there dancing and, starting my day in this really beautiful way that I could just release and have fun and feel sexy and smart and beautiful and creative and use my brain to try to follow patterns. Like it just embodies a lot of my personality in there. And so I really, really like it. Has community that keeps me accountable, and it is lovely. So I say all this to say it is so okay if you do not know what your dreams are. It is so okay if you're like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, do not feel bad about that. That is actually something that is really, that curiosity should make you really excited and invigorated and be like, heck, I don't know, but I am so down to try. Like, I am so down to go see what it is I want to do. Read things, try things, eat things. Take some time, journal, meditate, really listen to yourself. Today is Monday, and as I've said for these last few days, I have been trying to either personally like seek out my blind spots, or sometimes as life has it, your blind spots just suddenly appear to you and you're like, oh, somebody has revealed this blind spot I did not know existed. But I love blind spots. You want to know why? It's because something we don't always see. When we get this opportunity to see ourselves in this different way from a different perspective, we can make changes. And I'm all about making changes. Like, I am not a static person. I am fluid. I am moving through this life, changing every day. My goal is to be 1% better than I was yesterday. My goal is to make small progress, small actions, and that to me compounds and leads to huge results, which again, for me, it wasn't about not eating something one day or exercising for 50 hours and suddenly I was going to lose the weight. No, it's that consistency. It's that day-to-day grind. It's making a commitment to yourself. At minimum, 15 to 30 minutes a day is ideal, right? And I know some of us, like, that's even too big. But even if you can just commit to yourself one day for 1 minute and start with there and start building on there. Because if you could just get that minute in, if you could just make today that day one for you and no more make it that one day business, that 1 minute, you will start, your eyes will open, your spirit will open and be like, I need more of this. And how am I going to find it? Because I know in a 24-hour period, there's more than 60 seconds that should be devoted to myself. And not everybody else gets the rest of me or the good of me. So this morning I made the decision to go back because I had for a little while started the no technology in the morning. But I'm going to be honest here, that default setting came back in. It was just like, oh, here's this. Let me just do this. Let me get this. And especially, like I said, I do really good. But then when I go on a vacation, when I do something, it throws my whole system out of whack. It's really difficult. Like some things stick, some things take a little bit longer to get back into the action of it. So, because they're not a default setting, like me not being on my phone in the morning is not a default setting, that it quickly kind of came back. So I figured this morning, I was like, I really want to hone in how long I want to spend on my magical mornings. And I've really decided it takes about an hour for my full magical morning to have its full magical moment. So, I really need to allocate every day and be intentional about where am I going to place that magical morning, that in the morning, but like what time does that mean I'm going to wake up? Because like I said, some days I take somebody to school, some days I'm at the gym, some days I'm taking somebody to PT. Like there's so many different schedules within a week for me. So I need to look at my life as like a week versus a day, because it's not a repetitive where get up, go to work, get up, come home, eat lunch. It's my day doesn't look like that. My day is a lot more flexible depending on the day, depending on the classes, depending on my responsibilities as a mom and a businesswoman and things like that. So there's some things within the chaos of my week that, remain consistent. I film, I step, I dance and things like that, but the timing isn't always exactly the same. So I realized that I really need to be intentional and on that calendar and in my alarm magic morning and give myself 1 hour for full execution. I'm talking that's getting up, going to the bathroom, taking my shower, brushing my teeth, putting on my moisturizer, brushing my hair, meditating, my 10-minute walk out in nature, dry brush. I'm hot and cold on it right now. I'm like, what? I'm really trying to establish things, and I feel like it's this extra thing, and perhaps it'll be something I integrate into my evening routine as like like a relaxation thing. But I'm not there. I really am trying to refine in my magical morning, figure out how long it takes, get that done. And if I have extra time, I can begin some of my classes then. But really doing that and then scheduling at least 15 to 30 minutes beyond, filming to focus on the business. And that doesn't seem like a whole lot, right? Like 15 minutes, what's that going to do? But over time, it makes a big difference. If I just filmed once here for 30 minutes, okay, what's that going to do? But I have a whole arsenal, a whole like savings account of 30-minute videos saved up in my phone that will be coming soon to a YouTube near you. So I hope you get to enjoy those soon. But like having those things, and I know in the moment, like 15 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes, it doesn't seem a lot, but it's starting to build the momentum. It's starting to build the consistency. So if you want to discover what it is for you to, what it means for you to live the life of your dreams, you got to take the time to figure out what some of those things are. And then here's the biggest catcher. If you want to know the secret, what the number one thing that is standing between you and your dreams? Action. That's it. It's action. Because as soon as you get going, I was writing for a long time. I thought this was my dream, and it still is, but I thought it was the only dream. I thought it was the only way, and it got a lot of focus. And somehow along the way, all these other options and opportunities had presented themselves that I wasn't even aware of, but I was open to them, and I was curious, and I was like, could I execute this? Like, could I do this? Like, what does this look like? And the next thing you know, I'm registering for a domain. I finally figured out a name. I am sitting and recording. I order a selfie stick thingy here, a ring camera, whatever this thing is called. There's small actions that don't seem like a whole lot, but at the end of the day, when you accumulate them all, it's huge. It's just like with a weight loss journey or a job. Yes, sending one resume, it may not seem like a big deal, but if you do that every day, the next thing you know, you've sent out 30 resumes. Or if you want to send an email, or if you want to begin walking. And it may not seem like a big deal if you take a 1-block walk that first week, or, you do it next week. It may not seem like a big deal, but it is. It's huge. It deserves celebrating. First off, like if you take action, knock this stuff off where we're like, oh, I only did this. I just did this. You did something. That's huge. When I go to the gym, I am a different person. So when, like somebody is like, oh, I can just stay half this class. I'm too sore. This thing's like, listen, no, it's not just, that's huge. You came here sore. You came here tired and you showed up the best you could for as long as you could. You freaking won. Like, no more just and I only. You're not comparing. This isn't you against me and me against you. This is you against yesterday's version of you. And if you are better, and if you're able to do that, if you're able to overcome and make that choice to not lay in bed or, go out, and you made that choice, that difficult choice to be like, I can do anything I want with this time right now, and I'm going to go to the gym. That's huge. You won. Like, that's not a just, like, that deserves celebrating. And I feel, especially as women, it's so difficult, at least a woman, me, like in my experience, it's so difficult to celebrate our wins. It is so difficult to cheer one another on at times. And I think that's what this community is about. It's about cheering one another on. And it's not about me judging me. And like I said, I'm guilty of it. Like was times where, people around me that were my size that made me feel comfortable in my size. I didn't feel like I was the biggest girl in the room, decided to better themselves and make themselves healthy. And it made me feel kind of way. I didn't feel about them. I was super happy for them. But on this same turn, on the inside, it was like, cue the insults now. It was like, why aren't you doing this? Like, you're lazy, and even if I would get up and do something, I'm like, it's just not enough. You really think that eating a salad today is now going to, change the course of your life? And at that time, I didn't see that the answer was yes. Anything you do to move the needle forward is huge, especially in the beginning. It is ginormous. It is changing your life. It is putting the clicker on the left-hand side so that you use your left hand without thinking about it, where it becomes natural. And it's not easy all the time, and it's challenge, and sometimes you accidentally do things the wrong way, and that's okay. There is no wrong. You are doing, and that is just the beauty of it. And it doesn't mean that you need to have this full-on blueprint, like, okay, I need to journal, I need to meditate, I need to know exactly where I'm going to end up. No, it is not about the outcome. It's not about the number on the scale. It's not about the size pants that you're wearing. It is about the journey, because throughout this journey, there is so much discovery. There is so much beauty. There is so much progress and change that occurs that you cannot anticipate. You cannot even imagine is going to happen. What will happen? You couldn't even plan it. And if you did, it would never, ever, ever come true the way you had planned it. So, and I'm not saying that you can't, write your dreams. I'm going to college. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to this college, and I'm not saying it's not possible, but for the life that you are living, to live this life where you're open to all possibilities, it makes it really hard to have a rigid schedule in there that doesn't leave room for flexibility. You could say you want to be a lawyer, and then maybe leave it open to what kind of lawyer you want to be. What kind of law do you want to practice? So I say all this to say, really take the time this week and celebrate your wins. Really take the time and say, nothing that you do is just. Whatever you are doing is incredible. It is moving the ball forward. If you take that time to hone in and get clarity, and even if the clarity is, I just want to live the life of my dreams. I want to live my life for me. And at the end of the day, not feel like all I did was live my life as one of my identities, as a coworker, as a boss, as a mom, as a instructor, as a friend, as a wife, as a husband, as a spouse, whatever it may be. You don't have to live your life by this identity and all of these things that we associate with that identity. And for me, I think about it. If I have to think about, okay, what is something, I'm identified as? Okay, well, I'm identified as a mom. And what does a mom mean to me? Well, my first thing is it means responsibility. It means unconditional love. It means sacrificing for others. It means inspiring. It means motivating. It means helping. It means teaching. Like, so much is in this role of mom for me and my description. Your description of a mom may look completely different based on your childhood, based on the way you parent your your children or child or pets or whatever it is you're parenting. And so for me, I have really taken my role in these identities that I've created and lived for myself very seriously. Like, I am my identity. And so learning that it's okay to shift, that I am much more than just a mom. And I mean, it's still like one of my intro things. I'm a mom of four, like it is my, my who I am. But now I'm learning more parts that are related to me only and not other people. Like, I'm a dancer, I am a YouTuber, I am an author, I am like those things I do for me. I am a walker in nature. I am a meditator. I am all these things in addition to just being a mom, a wife, a friend, an enemy, whatever it is that I may be to you, or however you see me, is not necessarily my entire being. And so I say all this to say, I really hope that you take some time today, number one, and just take some time and be with yourself. Me not having my phone is such a reminder of how distracting it is in my own life. And as I'm distracted, I am not living my life. I am living my life based on this external stimuli still. And the whole point is, no, I want to be the ruler. I am creating the life that I want to live and that I am proud of myself. I don't need, nor do I want to be guided and taken on the journey that some, advertiser, that someone else like wants me to go on. I've done that and I didn't like where it took me. And so now I'm going to do the really hard things, which means breaking all the habits, breaking all the routines that got me to that place in the first place. And is it easy? No, it's not, but it's so freaking worth it. Like, it's not easy, but it feels so freaking good. And so it sounds so simple, right? Everything I say here is simple and it's easy and it's freaking free. So go for it. Like, there's no reason, like, I can't afford this. I can't this. Like, no, yes, you can. You can afford 60 seconds of your own time. You can afford free. Like, you can afford to, discover in your mind meditation and work with it. And your meditation doesn't have to look like mine, and mine doesn't have to look like hers, and hers doesn't have to look like his. Like, we all are doing it our own ways. So if that means for you today, you're taking a 1 block walk or a 55 block walk, it's up to you, and it's your life that you're creating. Slow and steady definitely wins the race. The important thing is, again, what did I say here? What is the one simple thing that is preventing you, that is holding you back, that you have this resistance from between you and your dreams? It's action. It's action. I could sit there forever, like I did before, about which Monday I was going to start my diet, what diet I was going to start, and have all the excuses about why I shouldn't. Even now, it's September, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here comes birthday months, and Halloween, and Thanksgiving, and holidays, and birthdays, and between now, I should just stop everything I do and, we'll start back up in February after my last son's birthday. No, that's September, October, November, December, January, February. That's half a year. September, October, November, December, January. Is that really? Like, no way. Half a freaking year? No way. No stinking way. Oh my gosh. Like, I never even thought about it in that aspect, but yeah, no, we're not stopping the train for, these holidays and these things like that. No, we're going to keep going. So I say all this to say, here we are today. I'm so glad you tuned in, and I really hope that you take the time to think about and explore what it is that will facilitate you living a life that you're proud of, the life of your dreams. And really go after it. Take some action. And I'd love to be here and celebrate that with you, as is this whole community. We are here to support one another. And sometimes we just need an accountability buddy to be like, get us into gear, you know? So I say all this to say, thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the amazing work. You are a blessing to this world. You are meant to be here. We need your gifts. Keep going, keep sharing. Be 1% better than yesterday. Go out there, give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye.